Smile.
But I'm not happy.
People are staring. I don't want to do this.
You have to. They'll know
No one
something's
cares about
wrong.
your
Why
life.
is that bad?
Nobody cares. They won't understand.
Nobody
I want to
cares.
go home.
You'll hurt their feelings.
This was ridiculous. What are
Why
we even
just
talking
talk
about?
like
Just you want to
keep
keep them
them
happy.
happy.
What if they
They're
think
gonna
you're
be
stupid?
mean.
Just keep them happy. Just keep them happy. Just lie.
I'm not here to sugarcoat, life's already a bumpy road. Too much shelter causes pain, let's just be real honest. Things are gonna knock you down, avoidance will not help you out. Let's talk it through, here me and you, let's keep it real honest.
Hi, welcome to Real Honest, the podcast where I share candid thoughts and feelings about life, love, and relationships, God and church, adulting, the workplace, and everything in between. I am your host. My name is Samantha, and you may not always like me, but I'll always be honest with you. Do you know the saying, it's better to have loved and lost than to have never loved at all? Do you agree with that? I feel like I do and I don't, depending on my mood, maybe, I guess. I think if you're fresh out of a breakup or you're in the middle of a heartbreak, then the pain is probably too raw to appreciate the good parts of the relationship, and then you might wish that you'd never found love so that you wouldn't be in pain. But it's weirdly, maybe not weirdly, let me know if you guys think it's weird, but it's the opposite for me. The pain reminds me that I was in love and that it happened and it was real, and I'm okay with the fact that it didn't last. But then on the flip side, I love being in love so much that when I've lost it, I'm like racing to find it again because I'm like, well, now I know it exists. And I feel like if I had never loved at all, then love would just be an idea that I'm after that maybe I would find and maybe I wouldn't, but I would have nothing to compare the absence of it to. So when I have loved and lost, then it's like, okay, well, now I know that I've had it. And that plagues me because I'm like, how do I get it back? I imagine this is how some addicts probably feel, but I'm just like, as the time passes, I get less sad and the longing to feel that the rush again eases up and the memories fade. And then I start to feel crazy because I wonder if it even happened at all. I'm sitting here like, well, were we in love or was I in love? And I watch the other person just like living their life without a care in the world of whether or not I'm in it. And I'm over here like unable to function because of something they said to me one time a million years ago that I never forgot. And I'm like, well, did they actually say it or did I make that up? Memory is really interesting to me. This is kind of what I wrote about. I think I mentioned it last week that I had written a short story that I submitted to a contest. And part of the motivation or inspiration behind the short story is this whole idea of love and loss, but it's actually focused on memory and how two people, experiencing the same event walk away with two very different memories of it, and how there are some memories that I can recall that are crystal clear as if they happened yesterday. And there are other ones that are a little fuzzy and kind of, I don't know if I have the details totally right. And then there are some memories that are completely gone, like I just can't recall them at all. I am just fascinated by this, and I can't decide if I think it's a good or a bad thing. The Taylor Swift lyric that I titled today's episode off of, which is from her song Innocent, is "Time turns flames to embers." And in the song, it's describing more of a positive thing. It's like you made this huge mistake, but like there's still time to turn things around. You can choose to be a good person. You can choose to do things differently. But I feel like it also works the other way, where like with time, passion fades and excitement fades, and just kind of what do we do when that happens is what I felt like exploring today. So to relate this to goals to start off with, how do you guys keep going when the initial excitement dies down? Like if you're a New Year's resolution person, I feel like it's usually pretty easy to start off the year really strong and just hit the ground running, and you're like, I'm gonna go to the gym every day. And then February rolls around and it's maybe you're doing it like 4 times a week, and then like slowly that like New Year's energy fades. How do you get yourself back into it for whatever the goal is? I keep having these days where I get really excited about my book. Like I will write a few paragraphs or a few chapters, whatever. I'll spend hours like brainstorming and working story details out, and I'll be like, oh, this is so awesome. Like I can't wait to share this with my friends. I can't wait for people to read this. And then the next day I just don't have the energy anymore and I don't have the excitement, and then I put it down and I don't work on it for weeks. And I wish that I could be more consistent, but with creative projects, like I need to enjoy it and be excited about it. And I think for me, it's been kind of recognizing and realizing like I can't plan that excitement. I can't plan for the passion or the inspiration to strike. So it's more about giving myself more time and space when it does. So I will, if I'm in the zone, I will cancel plans and just keep working on it as long as I can. Because if maybe I've scheduled like an hour every week to write, but then maybe I get to the hour that week and I'm not feeling it that day, then I won't do it and I'll do something else. So it's just kind of moving with my mood. I'm reworking my budget this month to prioritize saving money because my hours have been cut at work for the rest of the year. So I'm working on much smaller budget than I had for the first half of the year. And with that, I'm currently interviewing for a new job that I'm really excited about. I want it so bad, and I will tell you guys more about it if I get it, but I try not to talk about it too much because I don't want to jinx it. But one of the things that's been an interesting part of the process while I'm going through the rounds of interviews is that I am not allowing myself to buy anything, even like eating out or stuff like that. Like I'm waiting to have like a celebration dinner or a like I'm so sad I didn't get the job dinner. So that's actually been really nice because it's kind of been like, I think it's been 4 weeks so far where I had like the first interview and then heard back the second week, had the second interview, and then heard back that I've got the third interview, which is happening next week, which will be week 4. And so that's 4 weeks of like not ordering food, which has like, I'm proud of myself for doing that, but it's kind of like a delayed gratification thing where I'm trying to use the excitement and the energy and the hope of getting this job while also being realistic and understanding that it's a possibility that I won't get it. But either way, I'm using that energy to delay like either celebrating or commiserating. Either way, I'm going to spend money doing it. So making sure that I wait until that happens is helping me with the goal of saving money. When it comes to exercising and eating well, it's really hard for me to stay motivated because if my body was changing, that would motivate me to keep going, but it's not. So I try to stay motivated by like having more energy and feeling healthier and more like just feeling better overall. But like the past few days, I've been really, really sad and have just been laying here crying for the most part and like not eating anything and having to find a way to be like, not going to work out today. Not going to cook today. And not hate myself for that has been really challenging. But I do like the reminder of time healing all wounds because it works both ways to say like, oh, you had all of this energy, like you crushed your workouts this week, you wrote a ton, you know, whatever the goal is that you were crushing. It's like, you know, some time's going to go by and you're not going to be that excited anymore and you're not going to do that awesome. But then at the same time, on the weeks that like you don't work at all, or sorry, you don't work out at all, you eat complete trash and you're like mad and you're like, oh, I'm not doing the thing. You know, the time is going to go by and then that's going to fade and you're going to get back into the rhythm where you are energized and you do want to prioritize the thing. To relate this to what I feel like I'm learning from God right now, I think it's a lesson in patience, like a joke in the Christian community to say never pray for more patience because God will just give you opportunities to practice it and then you're going to be miserable, like getting stuck in traffic and that kind of thing. But, you know, there was a time that I was really, really excited about church and I was really, really excited about small group. And like now those things don't bring me joy like they used to. There was a time that I had a ton of friends and I was so excited. And like now I feel like in one of those seasons where I don't feel like I have any friends. I don't feel like I have anybody to talk to and nobody that understands me. And I'm just like really, really sad and like so frustrated by all of the conversations that I'm having. But as I'm talking, I'm remembering that usually when that happens is when it's because like I haven't prayed in a while and I'm thinking about it. And I'm like, yeah, I totally have not talked to God in a while. So that's probably why, because usually when I prioritize my friends over him is when he like taps me on the shoulder and is like, hey, let's chat. Interesting. So maybe it's not a lesson in patience. Maybe it's a lesson in the ebb and flow of as time goes by, I can be more excited about my relationship with God and super passionate, but like that passion can die. Like the flame can turn to an ember and then I'm just like kind of coasting through life and not really caring and not really seeing and not really paying attention. I'm gonna have to unpack that and get back to you guys on what I feel like I'm learning from God right now. But let's explore. Is it better to have loved and lost, or is it better to have never loved at all? I've been thinking about this a lot this week because I'm just so disappointed in so many of the conversations that I'm having. And I was talking to ChatGPT about this, and she said it's because people are not matching my energy and I'm holding that against them. So for example, I respond to messages right away because I have OCD tendencies and I must clear notifications. But in doing so, I am always very thoughtful in my responses. So like when I listen to voice notes from my friends, like I sit down and I listen to it and I pay attention to what they're saying and I respond to different things that they have said. I read their message in its entirety. I answer any questions that they pose to me. I ask follow-up questions about information that they've given me, and I do that very quickly. Most of my friends take way longer to respond than I do, and I completely understand that some people are very busy at work. Some people have jobs that they can't be on their phone during. I work remotely and I've got my phone sitting next to me all day long. I completely understand that some people just have a lot of messages. Some people struggle with paying attention. Some people open a message and then get a phone call and then they don't think to return back to that message, like it's just slipped their mind and they're gone and away and on to the next thing. So I'm not trying to blame people for this. I don't expect people to respond to me as quickly as I respond to them. Honestly, I don't like it because there's a part of my brain that's like, I just cleared that notification and here you are putting it right back in my inbox. And so I could mark this unread just to respond to you in an hour or a day, but then I'm going to have this little red notification for an hour or a day and I want to get rid of it. So I actually kind of like it when people take a while to get back to me. But what frustrates me is when people take a while to get back to me and either don't answer all of the questions that I posed or don't respond to all of the different things that I said in my message, because then it's like, did you even read it? Especially if I was like going through something and maybe I sent like a series of voice notes explaining the thing because the friend had asked for them, and then they take 2 or 3 weeks to get back to me and say something like, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry, I haven't responded to you in 3 weeks, I'm such a bad friend, how are you? And I'm like, did you just see that I sent you 3 voice notes 3 weeks ago and decided that they must no longer be relevant, so you didn't listen to them because I already told you how I'm doing and you didn't respond, which like, yes, it is 3 weeks later. I'm doing totally differently now, but still when stuff like that happens, I am like, I don't want to bother. So now next time you're like, hey, how are you doing? Tell me about your day. I'm going to just say, fine. I'm not going to bother actually telling you about my day because you're going to take 3 weeks to be like, oh my gosh, I've been so busy. And then not listen to what I said or be like, well, too much time has passed for it to matter anyway, so let's just start anew. I'm like, well, now we're not having a conversation. Now all we're doing is every three weeks being like, how are you? Fine, you, fine, and moving on, and that's a waste of my time. And I know that everyone is not like me. I cannot and should not expect everyone to be like me, but I do wonder if I feel this way because I was spoiled with amazing friendship very early in life. Like I feel like all through school, I had really, really, really good friends. I had my people and I felt like I loved them. I felt like they loved me. We were there for each other through all the things. We knew how to respond to each other in different situations and just really showed up for each other. And I thought that I would always have friends that did that. And so as an adult, with it being so sporadic, I almost find myself wishing that I had never had really good and consistent friendship so that I wouldn't have that to compare what I have now to. Looking at it the other way, I could say like, well, I know that the friendship that I want exists. I've had it before. I know that it's out there. So in that sense, it's good to have that to measure against, because that's how I can decide how much energy to put into a certain conversation or a certain person or a certain relationship. But it also takes so much time, and I can't figure out when it's worth putting the time in, because sometimes it's like time has to go by for the passion and the excitement to grow. like time has to go by for me and this other person to get to know each other and understand how to show up for each other. But it's like in the time that one of us is learning that, the other one is not getting what they need, and their flames have turned to embers, and now they're over it and don't care anymore. And it just seems near impossible to get on the same page at the same time. I feel like almost every conversation that I've had this week has been hard. And it's definitely in part because I am in the middle of a mild depressive episode. So at least I am aware of that and I'm acknowledging it. And I do not have a whole lot of energy to give this week. So if you are a person who has texted me in the past week that has said something like, I'm drinking tea, I'm watching XYZ TV show, or has asked me to do something, the most you're getting from me is a thumbs up. If you're asking me to do something, I've just marked it unread and straight up ignored it because I've got too many people asking for my energy and not giving anything back to me, and it's driving me absolutely insane. But I have really been trying with people, like as people have asked like how I'm doing, or have even just said like random nonsense, I've responded with like, I'm really sad. Like I've been laying here crying for 2 days, just to kind of gauge how people respond. And most people have either not responded at all, or have responded with, oh, I'm sorry to hear that, or I'm sorry you're sad. And I respect everyone's level of the energy that they have to give, the energy that they have to receive. I totally get where if your friend says they've been crying for 2 days and you don't have the capacity to hear about it, or you don't want to hear about it, or you just don't know what to say, so you just say like, sorry to hear that, in hopes that like they'll change the subject or like move on from it. That's fine. I respect that. And when I get those types of responses, that's the end of the conversation for me. I'm like, I'm essentially saying this as a this is my window into, can you and will you show up for me right now? And if not, I'm dipping out of this conversation because that's what I need right now in this moment. And I totally I'm not going to be upset with anyone for not being willing or able to show up for me, but like I also have to stand up for myself and like what I need. So I do really appreciate the handful of people who have asked like, do you want to talk about it? Like, why have you been crying for 2 days? Like, say more about that. And I've just shared with them, like, I've been feeling really, really lonely. And it's making me kind of angry. Like, my mom and I were watching this like end of the world movie the other night, and she had started mentioning how like, oh, we need to have a contingency plan in case this happens. Like maybe we should be building an underground bunker or something. And she's like, well, the plan is going to be for all of us to meet, at your dad and my house. And I was just sitting there like, if the world is ending and I'm going to have to be in an underground bunker with a group of people for months or years, my immediate family are not the people that I want to share that experience with. And I feel like the worst person on the planet for feeling that and for thinking that. But my family is just not super close and is not very emotionally available. And I can only handle so many conversations about the specific activity in front of us. Like typically going out to dinner with my family, the conversation is going to stay pretty focused on the food. And like maybe if we traveled to see each other, then there's going to be some conversation about like, how was your flight in? How was your drive? But we're not really going to go deep with it. We're not going to get to know each other. We're not going to talk about feelings. And that is because we all have this fear that if we do that, we're going to uncover something bad or it's going to be uncomfortable. So like, for example, my mom was visiting the other day and I had mentioned like, there are a lot of things that you didn't teach my sisters and I. Like, we were adults before we learned how to insert tampons. I am really just now learning about my hair at 32. And my mom has done my hair my whole life, but she never talked to me about like why we were doing this treatment or why we were using this chemical. And it was all out of like comfort and ease of her as my stylist, but there was never any like sitting down to be like, you're black and you have black hair and black hair is a thing and it's hard to deal with and you have to figure out what works for you and here are the options. Like we never sat down and had that conversation. And I was just making this observation. Like I was not trying to be angry or attacking. I was just like, there are like a handful of things that like I'm learning in my adult life that I feel like I should have learned as a little kid or at least a teenager. And whenever I say things like this, my mom hears, you are a bad mother, you failed, you did something wrong. And my whole family is like that, myself included, because we are all so critical. So even like if we were all like sitting around a table talking about like, oh, how does your food taste? How's your chicken? Is it tasty? Is it seasoned well? You know, where I'm like, maybe I want to talk about something else, but like I'm scared that if I say like, do you actually care how the food tastes? Like, can we talk about something else? Like my family is going to hear, I don't like you. You're boring. You're uninterested. You're a bad person. And like, that's just one of those things that like only years of therapy can fix and only half of us are going to therapy and it just is what it is. So I can't fix that. But because of that, I was thinking like, well, if I'm going to be in an underground bunker with people, I want to be there with my friends. But then I started to think like, you know, what friends could I pull together for this emergency plan? Like where would we meet? Who would be in there? And then I started to think like, I don't think any of the friends that I would want in my bunker would want to be in mine because they all have other people that they're closer with that they would choose, that would be their end of the world companion. And their other people are people that choose them back. And of course, in most scenarios, this is either a significant other or like a spouse situation. And I don't have one of those. So already like girlfriends, boyfriends, spouses are always going to trump me as a friend. I get that. But not all of my friends are in relationships. So even other people that are single like me, they also have other people that they would choose over me. And so I'm like, well, I don't really want to be alone in my bunker, but really and truly, if the world was ending, I think I would just sit on the ground and look up to the sky and be like, Jesus, I'm ready. Just take me. I'm not interested in being one of the final few or restarting the human race or anything like that. Like, no, thank you. But just thinking about this made me really, really sad because I feel like as much as I am comfortable being single and I'm comfortable with myself, I feel like I am alone. I'm forced to be alone most of the time. And that's what bothers me. I want choice. I want to be able to choose to do something by myself because I want to do it by myself and not do everything by myself because I have to. Like I have this solo trip coming up later this year that I am not the slightest bit excited about. I really, really do not want to go on vacation by myself, but none of my friends want to go. And I really want to go. And that sucks. I think that's depressing to have to go on vacation alone, no matter how many people keep telling me like, oh, you're going to love it. Solo travel is so freeing and you'll make friends and blah, blah, blah. And maybe that's true. And if it goes well, then great, awesome. But going into it, I'm not excited. I envision that I'm going to be on this cruise in a corner reading a book and no one's going to speak to me and I'm going to just be really sad the whole time. Maybe I won't leave my room. I'll just be like on the hammock on my balcony reading a book and I won't even go outside. And like if I'm going to do that, really, what's the point? Because I can lay in my own house and read a book. I just feel like I love everybody more than they love me. Like I have a long list of people that if they asked to see me, I would drop everything and be at their door tomorrow. No matter how long I had to drive or where I had to fly to. Like if I had to pay a ridiculous amount of money to get to them, I would figure out a way to make it happen. And I don't think that there is a single person on this planet that would drop everything and come see me just because I wanted to see them. I think if I were in distress, like if I were dying, I think a whole bunch of people would fly in and sit by my bedside. But I don't want to be dying. I want people to just like me and enjoy spending time with me and just want to be around me because they find me fun and interesting. And it just makes me really sad that not one person on this fucking planet cares. And I think this is why a lot of people don't reach out for help. Because when you hear that somebody is in distress or somebody harmed themselves or whatever, there's always this like avalanche of people that is like, oh, I just talked to them the other day. I wish I had known. I wish I had asked. But like, how often when somebody says to you, like, I'm feeling really sad, I'm feeling really down, I'm feeling really unloved, do you actually show up and do anything and say anything that is remotely helpful? Like, even just, I love you and I'm here. Even just, you matter and I care about you. I haven't gotten any of that this week. I've gotten a lot of, oh, I totally get it. I feel lonely sometimes too. Everyone is married. Did I say anything about being married? That's literally not the issue at all. It just really feels like, why bother? It really feels like, what's the point? Like there's no point in anything or even trying anymore. But going back to the whole like time turns flames to embers things, it's like, well, right now I am like angry and sad, but time's gonna pass and this is gonna fade and I'll be back in a better mood and like ready to have light, fun, happy conversations about boring nonsense that doesn't mean anything in no time. And speaking of the hard conversations, it's interesting trying to navigate, like, when do I push harder? Like if I say I'm feeling really sad and the friend responds with, oh, I'm sorry to hear that. When do I respond with, can I tell you why I'm sad? Can we talk about this? Like, I'm receiving your response as dismissive. Are you trying to be dismissive or are you open to hearing about this? I don't usually ask that question. I usually just take them being dismissive and I move on. But when should I not do that? Like, when is it right to push? And when is pushing going to result in losing the friend because they really were trying to be dismissive because they did not have the emotional capacity to show up. And they knew that they couldn't show up and they knew that they wouldn't show up. So they were just like, oh, sorry to hear that. I hope you feel better soon. Because they only want to talk to me when I feel better because they find it really, really difficult to talk to me when I'm sad, And then it's just kind of like, that doesn't mean that that person and I cannot be friends. It just means that they're not a person to go to in like distressing moments. They're a person to just like celebrate happy, like, I got a new job, and they'll say, yay, awesome. Like, those people are useful to have too at times. But I think I will always go back and forth on this love and loss thing. Like, I feel like I keep switching between moods of like, I'm so grateful that I have been in love. I'm so grateful that I have been loved, because in these moments, these weeks, these times that I feel like nobody loves me, I'm able to say I have felt loved before. So I know that it's possible, and I believe that it can happen again, even if it's not happening right now in this moment. But then I think part of me will still always kind of wish a little bit that I had never experienced like the friendship that I want or like the love that I want, because I don't want to spend my life chasing something that I can't get again, because I have no way to know if like, that was for a season and the season ended and it was beautiful and it didn't last, and that's okay, but I'm never going to have it again. Like, I have no way to know that. And I think I would rather not have the memory of it to chase. Like, I wish that if it was more of just kind of an idea, like something that I saw on TV or I read about in books, but I had never experienced, then I think eventually I would get to a place where I'm like, well, maybe it doesn't exist. Like, that's why it's in all of the books and the TV shows because that's what everybody wants, but it's not real because nobody actually has it. But then I like fall into depression of like, well, other people have it. It's just me that's not allowed to. On a happier note, Taylor and Travis announced their engagement this week, the week that I'm recording this, not the week that you guys will hear it. But it gave me a really awesome opportunity to be able to share some specific examples of what I was talking about. It'll be now when you guys hear this 2 weeks ago. So if you listened to 2 episodes back, so I think episode 21 is when I was talking about being seen and heard and known and kind of what it feels like for me when my friends know me really well. So regarding the Tayvis engagement, first of all, I have my Swiftie group chat with 2 friends that are also diehard Swifties. That is the place where I get my information if I don't get it directly from Instagram. So anytime Taylor has an announcement of any kind, if I see the announcement and have not yet seen anything in this group chat, I put it in that group chat and same thing. So one of the girls posted a screenshot to Taylor's Instagram post in this group chat because me and the other girl had not posted anything yet. So she's like, they must not have seen it if they haven't been in this chat. She was right. I had already reached my Instagram minutes for the day. So I was 8 minutes late to hearing the news. Oh my gosh. But like that was all she sent, just a screenshot. There was no commentary because she knew that we did not know about it yet. So she was giving us a second to like read the caption, go to the post, look at the pictures, like all of that, so that we could all just like freak out in the chat together, which was so much fun. And that is the chat where anytime I'm scrolling through like TikTok with the like me and my 2 friends in this chat that are Swifties, we do not have the time or energy to decipher all the codes, but we love watching other people find the clues and do the deep dive theories or whatever. We find those on TikTok and we share them with each other in this chat. So that's what I kind of spent like the next hour or so doing. Outside of those 2, any of my other friends that like Taylor Swift, I knew would like see it on Instagram or like hear it from a friend. So I didn't feel the need to like go announce it to any of my other friends, but I did announce it in my family group chat because I knew that I was going to hear it long before they would. So I posted it in the family group chat. Taylor and Travis got engaged with the like holding back tears emojis. And what is absolutely hilarious is one of my sisters responded with hooray because she does not care, but she was trying to show support. Shout out to her. My other sister did not respond because she does not care. My dad sent a single clap emoji because he did not care. And my mom didn't see the group chat. She sent me a separate message that said Taylor and Travis got engaged. And I was like, oh my gosh, Mom, I sent that in the family group chat an hour ago. And she was like, oh, I knew you would already know. And that I would already have a message from you and that you would share all the things. But shout out to my mom because she actually like really, really tried to care. And like I was telling her all about like the garden and she was like totally down to hear about it and was like excited with me. And I was like, oh, thanks, Mom. Then I got a message from a friend who is also a Swiftie that just said, ah, in all caps. This message says, I just heard the news. I know that you already know the news and I'm excited. So I'm going to communicate that. And I essentially just said, ah, back. Or it was one of those things where we knew that like we both have our like Swiftie friends that we had already deciphered all the things with. But this was like just another person to celebrate with, which was awesome. 2 people sent me messages identical to my mom's that said Taylor and Travis are engaged. And I was like, duh. Of course, I already know this information. Like, are you informing me? Or do you think that you have to know that you're not informing me what's happening here? But so that was like what I was talking about where I was like, some people, like it feels like they don't know me well. Like the other messages were like, okay, Samantha definitely already knows. And these ones were like, oh, maybe she doesn't know, but I know that she loves Taylor. So let me tell her in case she doesn't know. And it's like, totally already knew. I had a lovely message from a newer friend that said, how are you feeling about the big announcement today? I love this because this message says, I know I don't even have to I don't have to put names in here. I don't have to say what the big announcement is because they already know what they knew that I was going to know when I read it. They knew this person is not a Swiftie, but knows that I am a Swiftie. And they were like, so this message says to me, I know that you're super excited about this thing and I'm going to be excited about it with you. Like, oh my gosh, chef's kiss, felt so loved. Then my older sister, who is also a Swiftie, so not one of the twins that don't care, but she sent me, congratulations, have you been sobbing all day? I can't wait to see what this wedding looks like. And I'm like, see, she knows, she gets it. She was like, I'm going to say, like, she congratulated me, like my close personal friend got engaged, which is how all the Swifties feel. So just let us have this, okay? Let us just feel like we are close personal friends. Like, chef's kiss, 10 out of 10. Another friend sent random exclamation points. Similar to the this is a message that's like, we don't need context here because we both know what we're talking about, because I know you super well. I know that you're in a great mood. I know that you're excited, and I'm being excited with you. Also, 10 out of 10. The winning message, 11 out of 10. My best friend said, all right, tell me your thoughts on the engagement if you have stopped screaming by now. Absolute winner, because this one was like, I know you know the news. I know how you reacted to it. I gave you some time to be super obnoxious because I am not on the level that you need me to be. So I waited for your excitement to die, like you to do that with the Swifties, but I'm also going to be in this with you, but less. So congratulations, you win. What I'm watching right now. Okay, so many things. Let's start with movies. So the movie that my mom and I watched is called Leave the World Behind, I think, which is on Netflix. Got a ton of like bad reviews on Letterboxd, but I actually really enjoyed it. So if you like that type of movie, go for it. If not, maybe not. I don't know. Read the reviews and make up your own mind, but I really liked it. I went to the Caught Stealing screening last night, and that movie is excellent. I did not like it because crime capers are not for me. It's too, I don't need the senseless killing. It's too much for me. I don't like it, but the movie is excellent. Like it's really a perfect movie. Like everything works together so seamlessly. I think it's great. It's just not my cup of tea, but it's fantastic. Moving on to TV. I'm not sure why, but I'm still suffering through The Summer I Turned Pretty. I hate this season. I don't know I really liked seasons 1 and 2, and this is not the first show to like have a really strong start and then take a sharp left turn off a cliff. But I'm still watching it, I think, because I'm really confused by it. Like, I can't imagine that the creators would intentionally make multiple main characters that are so unlikable. So I'm kind of watching it from an analytical perspective of like, they have to know that they're super unlikable. Where are the redeeming qualities? Are we supposed to strongly dislike everyone this much? Am I missing something? Like what's going on here? If you are suffering through this season of The Summer I Turned Pretty and you have not yet watched My Life with the Walter Boys on Netflix, I highly, highly, highly recommend. It's the same concept of a love triangle with siblings, which I don't love, but the Netflix show is actually done well. Well, first of all of the characters are likable for the huge, huge shift. But the story is really, really interesting, and the love triangle is not the show. It's part of the show. But everybody else on the show has things going on and like a life and a personality totally disconnected from this love triangle. It's got amazing parents, which seems super rare in the teen shows for some reason, but we've got some parents that show up and parent, which is fun. It wins in the diversity all around. Love it so much. It's really, really well written, really, really well acted. Like, such a good show. Highly recommend. And then can we please talk about Hallmark's Providence Falls? This is actually, okay, so it's 3 movies. It's a 3-part situation where they're each 90 minutes long. And I think it's based off a book. I don't know. I haven't read it. I only watched it because Katie Stevens from The Bold Type is in it. And if you haven't watched The Bold Type, that's also a really, really, really good show that you should watch. Fantastic. But back to Providence Falls. It is Hallmark. It's everything that you know and love from Hallmark. Okay. So like, there's not going to be a whole lot of spice. There's going to be some light drama and, but all will be resolved in the end, all of that. But I don't know. I was expecting it to be stupid. It is another love triangle situation, but it's like with time travel, and it's really interesting. There's like angels and devils involved in the love triangle in a whole like soul's journey and about like fate and destiny and like, do you have choice in that? Like, it explores a lot. It was really interesting. Like, I don't know why I'm laughing, but I really, really liked it. I was like, I was like very sucked in. And in the same way that you get sucked into like Hallmark Christmas, you know, it was like that, but in a 3-part love triangle, time travel, soul travel mystery situation. Like, you guys should really watch this. It was fascinating. Thanks for listening. Leave me a review if you want. Please subscribe. I have new episodes on Wednesdays at 6 a.m. Central. If you have questions, comments, concerns, or you want to chat, send me an email at realhonestpod@gmail.com. Unless you have my number and you're one of the bad friends who didn't show up for me this week, then send me a text. Kidding, but not. Okay, bye!
I'm not here to sugarcoat, life's already a bumpy road. Too much shelter causes pain, let's just be real honest. Things are gonna knock you down, avoidance will not help you out. Let's talk it through, hear me and you, let's keep it real honest.